She tried to stop me from saving a man's life. I work in an ER and Mondays are literally hell. The crazies come out, everyone's sick from the weekend, and we're running around like chickens with our heads cut off. This one Monday was especially bad. We had stretchers lined up in the hallway because the back was completely full. So this lady gets wheeled in by ambulance, complaining about stomach pain. I'm working triage that day, which means I decide who gets seen first. Her vitals are stable, she's talking fine, and she tells me she's had gallbladder issues before. Classic gallstone symptoms. Painful as hell, but not gonna kill you. We get her on a stretcher in the front area, hook her up to monitors, start an IV, the whole deal. Then her daughter shows up. One look at this woman and I know she's gonna be a problem. Designer everything, that I wanna speak to your manager haircut, the works. She takes one look at her mom still sitting in triage and loses her mind. Do you know who I am? I know the CEO of this hospital personally. You're all going to be fired if my mother doesn't see a doctor right now. I explain that her mom's condition isn't life-threatening and we're swamped. Even her mom is telling her to calm down, saying she's had this pain before and knows it's her gallbladder. The daughter eventually stops screaming, but she's still pacing around like a caged animal. About an hour later, this guy gets brought in, and we put him on the stretcher right next to the gallbladder lady. His complaint seems minor, but something about him is setting off alarm bells in my head. In the ER, you learn to trust your gut when it's screaming at you. His vitals look normal, but my instinct is telling me this guy is about to crash hard. I hook him up to the heart monitor and tell the charge nurse I'm worried about him. She says to keep watching and let her know if anything changes. 5 minutes later, something changes. I'm taking the gallbladder lady's blood pressure when I glance over at the guy's monitor. His heart rhythm just went sideways in a bad way. I drop what I'm doing and start checking him out when his daughter literally grabs my arm. Excuse me, you need to finish with my mother first. She was here before him. I jerk my arm away. Ma'am, I need to check on this patient. That's when his rhythm goes into V-fib. That's the rhythm where your heart basically stops working and you die in minutes if we don't fix it. I'm calling for the charge nurse while unhooking him from the monitor and throwing his bed into drive mode. As I start pushing the stretcher toward the back, this crazy woman jumps right in front of it and blocks my path. My mother was here first. This is completely unacceptable. I'm reporting you for malpractice. This guy is literally dying on the stretcher behind me and she's worried about waiting room etiquette. I look her dead in the eye and say, you have two choices. Get out of my way or get run over. I start pushing the stretcher forward. She thinks I'm bluffing and tries to stand her ground, but I'm not stopping for anyone when someone's about to die. At the last second, she jumps out of the way, but not fast enough. The wheel runs right over her foot and she goes down screaming. I don't even slow down. I get the guy back to our trauma room where the whole team is waiting. We work on him for 30 minutes, shocking his heart, pushing drugs, doing everything we can. But sometimes it's just too late. He dies on the table. When I finally get back to the front, both women are gone. They got taken back to see a doctor. But my charge nurse warns me that they filed a complaint against me. The daughter is claiming I assaulted her and put her mother's life in danger. Few days later, the actual CEO shows up on my next shift. This guy has a reputation for being fair but tough. Since this was before we had cameras everywhere, he has to rely on witness statements. He sits me down and says, so I hear you had an interesting Monday. Tell me what happened. I explain everything. The gallbladder lady, the daughter being a nightmare, the guy going into V-fib, her blocking the stretcher. When I get to the part about telling her to move or get run over, he starts chuckling and tries to cover his mouth. The thing is, he says, the woman who complained is actually a friend of my sister. I know exactly what kind of person she is. Turns out the gallbladder lady did have gallstones and nothing else. The daughter's foot was broken from me running her over. But instead of getting fired, the CEO puts a commendation in my file for prioritizing patient care over family complaints. My next review comes with a huge raise and a bonus specifically because of that note. The CEO wrote that I demonstrated exactly the kind of clinical judgment and patient advocacy the hospital values.